I ended my engagement after my fiancé wanted a break to explore her ex. Hey everyone, after what feels like forever, I, 27M, finally decided it's time to talk about what's been happening in my life. Until recently, I honestly believed I was about to marry the love of my life, Tessa, 26F. We'd been together for 4 years, and for most of it, I thought we were rock solid. But now I'm sitting here wondering how I missed the signs. How we met Tessa and I met at a friend's birthday party. She was confident, funny, sharp, the kind of woman who made everyone pay attention when she spoke. I'd dated before, but no one had ever clicked with me like she did. Things moved fast. Within a year, we were living together. We were that couple who just worked. We had similar schedules. She was a freelance graphic designer, and I worked as a project manager at a tech company. Life wasn't fancy, but it was happy. We talked about marriage for a while, and last year, I finally proposed. It wasn't a huge production, just dinner at home, quiet and intimate. She cried, said yes, hugged me like I was her forever. That night, we started planning our life together. A small fall wedding by the lake, close friends, close family. Everything felt perfect, or so I thought. The first red flags. The first warning signs were small, easy to brush off. At first, she was obsessed with wedding planning, showing me Pinterest boards, dress styles, color palettes, even arguing about tulips versus roses for the centerpieces. Then, out of nowhere, she lost interest. I'd ask, "Have you picked your bridesmaids yet?" And she'd shrug. "Not yet. I'm still thinking." The same thing happened with everything. The cake, the venue, the playlist. Suddenly, she didn't seem to care anymore. I told myself it was stress. Weddings are overwhelming, right? She had a lot going on with work. I figured she'd snap out of it, but I didn't realize her lack of excitement wasn't about the wedding. It was about us. The TikTok game that changed everything. One night, we were out with friends, playing that stupid TikTok straight face game, where you have to answer personal questions honestly without reacting. Someone asked, if you could relive one past relationship, which would it be? Without hesitation, Tessa said, probably Dylan. The entire room went quiet. Dylan, her college ex, the guy who cheated on her. She tried to backtrack immediately, laughing awkwardly and saying, "I don't mean I want to, it's just that was a big part of my life." I laughed it off in front of everyone, but later that night I asked her about it. "Why would you say Dylan?" She brushed it off. "It was just a stupid game, Liam. Don't take it so seriously." I didn't push it, but deep down, it stuck with me. Her behavior started to change. After that night, I couldn't ignore the shift. She was on her phone more often, smiling at messages she wouldn't explain. She started canceling plans. "Sorry, work's crazy," or "I promised my mom I'd visit this weekend." Individually, they didn't seem suspicious, but together, they painted a picture I didn't want to look at. Then came the Friday night that changed everything. I got home early, excited for a cozy night in, order food, watch a show, relax. But the second I walked through the door, I could feel it. Something was off. She was sitting on the couch with her laptop open, but not working, just staring blankly at the screen. "Hey, I'm home," I said. She looked startled. "You're early." That tone, not happy, not surprised, just uncomfortable. I tried to shake it off, started prepping dinner, waiting for her to talk, but she didn't. Finally, I asked, "Is everything okay?" She closed her laptop, looked at me, and said the words that knocked the air out of my lungs. "I've been thinking about us, and about Dylan." At first, I laughed, thinking she was joking. "Dylan? Are you serious? What about him?" She bit her lip. "I think I need some time to figure things out. I want to take a break and see if there's still something there." The conversation that ended it all. I just stared at her. "You want to take a break to date your ex? Tessa, we're engaged." "It's not like that," she rushed to say. "I just need to be sure I'm making the right choice with you. If it doesn't work out, I promise I'll come back." That's when something inside me flipped. She thought I'd sit around waiting while she tested her feelings for another guy. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just felt done. "So, what does this break mean to you?" I asked quietly. "I think we need space," she said carefully. "I'll take time to see how I feel about Dylan, and you can think about us too." I almost laughed. "You want to go explore your ex and I'm supposed to. I reflect on us. How does that make sense?" "It's not about you doing something wrong," she said defensively. "It's about me figuring out what I need." Her words sounded rehearsed. She'd already made up her mind. "You realize how insane this sounds, right? You don't get to put your fiancé on hold while you go play what if with some guy who cheated on you." "I'm not asking for permission," she said firmly. "I'm telling you what I need." That did it. The sadness vanished, replaced by anger and clarity. "Fine," I said flatly. "Take your break." She looked surprised. "Liam, I'm not trying to hurt you. It's fine," I interrupted. "Do what you need to do." She hesitated, then said, "I'll stay at my mom's for a bit. This isn't forever. We'll talk when I've had time." I nodded. She packed a bag, left the house, and probably thought I'd sit there waiting, confused, heartbroken, and loyal. But she was wrong. The moment that door closed, I knew exactly what I had to do. This wasn't going to end the way she expected. Update 1. I sold the house and disappeared. Hey everyone. First off, thank you for all the support and advice after my last post. Reading through your comments gave me clarity I didn't even know I needed. A lot has happened since then, and when I say a lot, I mean it. The night Tessa left, I just sat there in the quiet. No anger, no tears. Just silence, and a strange calm. The kind of calm that comes when you finally accept that the person you love isn't really who you thought they were. That night, I made a decision. If she wanted space, I was going to give her all the space in the world, but not in the way she expected. Step 1. Take control. The next morning, I called my best friend Noah. We've been tight since college. The kind of friend who never sugarcoats anything. He came over with pizza and beer, listened to the entire story, and just shook his head. Dude, he said, she's gonna come crawling back the second Dylan disappoints her. You can't sit around waiting for that. He was right. That conversation flipped a switch in me. This wasn't about revenge. It was about taking back control of my life. Step 2. The house. What Tessa seemed to forget was that the house was in my name. She liked to talk about it as our home, the curtains she picked, the paint colors she chose, but every mortgage payment had my name on it. So first thing Monday morning, I called a realtor. By Tuesday afternoon, the house was officially on the market. The housing market was booming, and within days, we had multiple interested buyers. Meanwhile, Tessa had no idea. I can only imagine she thought I was sitting at home waiting for her to find herself. Step 3. Erase the clutter. Next, I started clearing the house of her stuff. The live, laugh, love wall decor, the throw pillows she obsessed over, all of it, gone. I packed her clothes neatly, boxed up her personal things, and then hired movers to deliver everything straight to her mom's house. No note, no confrontation, just a short message taped to one box. Here's your stuff. Good luck with Dylan. Some people might call it petty. I call it efficient. She wanted space? She got it, physically, emotionally, and legally. Step 4. Control the narrative. Our mutual friends started noticing her absence and asking questions. Instead of getting defensive or playing the victim, I kept it simple. Tessa decided she needed to explore things with her ex before committing to marriage. I decided I deserved better than being someone's backup plan. No drama, no gossip, just facts. You'd be amazed how quickly people's opinions shifted when they heard the truth without the theatrics. Step 5. Start over. Then, I took things a step further. I'd been eyeing a position at my company's West Coast office for months, but never had the guts to apply. Well, guess what? I finally did. If the house sells, and it looks like it will, I'll be moving across the country for a fresh start. While I was doing all this, Tessa started texting me. At first, it was casual. Hey, hope you're okay. Then it became more insistent. I've been thinking about you. Can we talk? When she found out her stuff had been moved and the house was for sale, the tone changed to panic. Why are you acting like it's over? Liam, this isn't what I meant when I said I needed space. My response was short and calm. Because it is over. You made your choice, Tessa. Now, I'm making mine. She started crying, saying I was overreacting, that she just needed to figure things out. I asked her one question. What did you expect, Tessa? That I'd sit around waiting while you test drive your ex? She went silent. Then came the kicker. But what if I realize you're the one I actually want? I told her, then you'll have learned a valuable lesson not to take people for granted. And I hung up. Step 6. Let go. The crazy part? I wasn't angry anymore. I felt free. Every time I packed a box or sent an email, I felt like I was taking my life back, and piece by piece. Noah came by again to help with the last of the packing. He looked around the half-empty house and said, Man, you seem different. More focused. He was right. I was different. When Tessa first told me she wanted to see if something was still there with Dylan, I thought my world was ending. Now I realize it wasn't ending. It was just shifting. The illusion I'd been living in finally cracked, and beneath it was the truth. I'd been building a life with someone who wasn't fully in it. So that's where things stand now. The house is selling, my job transfer is in motion, and I'm no longer waiting around for someone to choose me second. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. When someone treats you like an option, remove yourself from their list entirely. Stay tuned. This story isn't over yet, but something tells me Tessa's break isn't going quite as planned. Update 2. Her break with her ex is falling apart. Hey everyone, back again with an update. And trust me, this one's wild. Remember how I mentioned I applied for a position on the West Coast? Well, I got it. The timing couldn't have been better. The house is under contract, closing next month, and everything in my life seems to be moving forward, except for Tessa, whose little journey of self-discovery is crashing and burning in real time. Her fantasy versus reality. Through mutual friends, I found out that her reunion with Dylan wasn't the romantic movie she imagined. Turns out people don't change much in 4 years. He's still the same guy who cheated on her in college. Unreliable, flirty, selfish. Apparently their rekindled spark lasted about 2 weeks before the fight started. And while that mess was unfolding, Tessa started posting these vague, pseudo-inspirational quotes on Instagram. Things like, sometimes you have to lose yourself to find yourself. Following your heart means taking risks, even when it hurts. Translation: I made a huge mistake but don't want to admit it yet. Playing the same game. I decided to play along, but my version was different. I posted a single, simple update. Excited to announce I've accepted a new position in San Francisco. Sometimes when one door closes, a better one opens. Here's to new beginnings. That was it. No shade, no drama, just facts. The reaction? Instant. Comments poured in. People congratulated me, asked about the move, and, of course, asked about Tessa. I kept my answers polite and consistent. We're no longer together. She wanted to explore other options, so I'm exploring mine too. No anger, no bitterness, just truth. And you'd be amazed how fast that spread. Suddenly Tessa's "we're just on a break so" story wasn't adding up. The sympathy she'd been fishing for? Gone. People started realizing what really happened. The professional fallout. Here's where it gets even more ironic. Tessa's freelance design business relies heavily on networking and client referrals. One of our mutual contacts, Sarah, 29F, works in the same tech circle and had referred a lot of clients to Tessa in the past. Sarah invited me for coffee and said, "Hey, Tessa's been telling people you two are taking time apart to grow individually, but something feels off." What really happened? So I told her, word for word, what Tessa had told me, that she wanted to take a break to see if there was something still there with her ex. Sarah just sat there, speechless. By the end of the week, multiple clients had postponed or canceled their projects with Tessa. Not because I trashed her. I didn't have to. The truth did that on its own. And really, who wants to hire someone who treats major commitments like trial runs? Her panic mode. Once again, my phone started lighting up with messages from Tessa. "Why are you telling people about Dylan?" "You're ruining my reputation." "This isn't fair. I just needed time to think." I only replied once. "You got what you wanted. Time and space. How I spend mine isn't your concern anymore." After that, radio silence from my end. Karma moment. Then came the cherry on top. Dylan, in his infinite wisdom, posted a photo of them together on a date at the exact restaurant where Tessa and I had our first date. The caption? "Some things are worth a second chance." I almost laughed out loud. It didn't take long for the post to disappear, probably after the backlash from mutual friends who knew exactly what was going on. The fallout was swift. Even the few friends who'd been trying to defend her went quiet. Her own sister texted me, "I'm so sorry for how she's handling all this. You deserve better." And for the first time, I believed it. She came crawling back. A week later, Tessa showed up at my office. She looked exhausted. Puffy eyes, fake smile, the whole 9 yards. She sat across from me and started crying almost immediately. "I made a huge mistake," she said. "I thought I needed to figure things out. I thought I was scared of commitment. But I was wrong. You're the best thing that ever happened to me." I just looked at her and said quietly, "No, Tessa. The best thing that ever happened to me was you showing your true colors before we got married." She tried to argue, begged to work on it, said she'd go to therapy, that she'd prove she could be trusted again. I shook my head. "You don't get it. This isn't about Dylan anymore. It's about you thinking I'd stay on standby while you explored your options. That's not love. That's convenience." She left my office sobbing. I didn't feel satisfaction, just closure. Moving forward. The house sale is almost finalized. My stuff is packed. I moved to San Francisco in a few weeks. Some people have said I'm being too harsh, that everyone makes mistakes. But this wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. Every time she texted Dylan, every time she lied about work, every time she made me feel crazy for noticing something was wrong, those were choices. And I'm finally making mine. So here's where I'll leave it for now. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even. It's getting better. And I'm doing exactly that. Final update. Freedom, karma, and a fresh start. Hey everyone, this will be my last update. And honestly, it feels like the perfect way to close this chapter. A clean break and a new beginning. San Francisco has been everything I hoped for and more. My apartment overlooks the bay. My new job is incredible. And for the first time in a long time, I feel free. The house back home sold for above the asking price. The new owners moved in last week. Watching my old life disappear in the rearview mirror was surreal, but also incredibly peaceful. Of course, word traveled fast. Tessa didn't believe I'd actually sold the house until she drove by and saw someone else moving in. That's when things got really interesting. The truth always comes out. Out of nowhere, I got a message, not from Tessa, but from Dylan. Yeah, that Dylan. He sent a long text saying he never meant to cause problems, that Tessa had reached out to him first, months before she ever asked for the break. Apparently, she'd been laying the groundwork for her little self-discovery phase for a while, texting him, reminiscing, planting seeds. She was planning her escape long before I had any idea. The irony? Dylan ended up dumping her. His exact words, "If she can do this to you, she can do it to anyone." That's karma in 4K. Her downfall. Tessa's professional life took a hit too. Most of her freelance clients moved on, not because I said anything, but because word spreads. One of her biggest former clients even reached out to me and said, "We heard about the engagement ending. We're looking for a designer who can commit long-term. Do you know anyone reliable?" I referred someone else, a talented designer who actually deserves it. Meanwhile, Tessa's social media turned into a roller coaster of chaos. First came the heartbreak quotes about losing your soulmate. Then the angry posts about toxic people who can't handle growth. Finally, the fake happiness posts, new beginnings, starting my own design firm, that sort of thing. 3 days after announcing her new business, she was already sending out job applications. Her sister texted me again, saying, "She's been staying at our parents' place. She really thought you'd wait for her. When you sold the house and left, it broke her fantasy." That hit me, not out of guilt, but out of clarity. She genuinely thought she could pause my life, chase her ex, and I'd still be waiting like a loyal safety net, watching it all fade. Apparently, she's been scrambling to pick up freelance gigs, explaining to potential clients why her website's down. What she forgot is I was the one who set up her hosting and handled her tech. When it expired, she didn't even know how to renew it. Not my problem anymore. I've moved on. Completely. I joined a local rock climbing club, started taking Spanish lessons, and even adopted a rescue dog, a goofy, loyal mutt named Zeus. He's better company than my ex-fiancé ever was. Work's thriving too. My new team is sharp, supportive, and genuinely inspiring. I was even invited to speak at a developer conference last week, something I never would have done if I'd stayed back home, stuck in that half-life. The last message. A few days ago, I got one final email from Tessa. She wanted access to our old shared cloud storage, said she needed some old photos. Her email ended with this: "I know you're trying to erase me from your life, but you can't just delete our memories. Those 4 years meant something." I replied once, "You're right. They meant something. They taught me exactly what I don't want in a partner. Thanks for the lesson." That was the last message I'll ever send her. What I've learned. Some mutual friends say I'm being cold, that everyone makes mistakes. But here's the truth. This wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. She chose to lie. She chose to string me along. She chose to see if the grass was greener while keeping me as a safety net. Every text to Dylan, every excuse, every time she smiled at her phone while claiming to need space. Those were decisions. And I finally made mine. Real endings sometimes. The worst thing that happens to you turns out to be the best thing that could have. If Tessa hadn't shown me who she really was, I might have married her, only to learn years later that her loyalty was conditional. Maybe there'd be kids in the mix, shared finances, a mess too big to escape. Instead, I got a clean break, a fresh start, a new life in a new city, and peace. To everyone who followed this story, thank you. Your advice, your comments, your perspective, they helped me stay grounded and strong when everything felt like it was falling apart. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Don't wait for them to change. Don't wait for them to choose you. Life's too short to be someone's backup plan. Walk away. Build your own life. Get better. Not even better. That's what I did, and I've never been happier.